Hello dear brothers and sisters, this is the second part of the previous video about the mafia guy. So I just remembered that I forgot to mention a few things. Like when I was texting him back from the bus station, I basically wanted to remove any trace or to kind of make him think in the opposite direction of where I was or where I'm going to. So I told him that I wrote in that message that I have a cousin who's working at the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Croatia, which was basically the truth, and that I'm staying with him in Zagreb. While at the same time I bought that ticket and I went to Belgrade. But I also remember when we were in Zagreb, when we were heading there, I just remembered what he was telling me. Like he started telling me that the thing that he has to do in Zagreb is kind of agreeing with some people on how to, it was like he was a hitman, like how to kill or liquidate one of the, he mentioned his name, he was one of the known mafia guys in our hometown. And I remember for me it was like, oh my, it's like I couldn't believe that I am like near a person who is talking about those type of things, like how to kill somebody, like he's killing somebody, and that somebody is like the famous mafia guy. I was in huge shock because I kept finding out some things about him, and even those things that I've started finding out about him, I wasn't really sure if that's true. But you know, he was presenting it in the way that it sounded like it really is true. So I already explained our stay in Belgrade. I think I'm going to tell you. So the reason why I didn't want to go, why I was always saying that I will never go to Belgrade or to Serbia, and the mafia guy knew that, and eventually I went there just because I didn't want him to figure out where I'm going. But the main reason why I didn't want to do that is that I am a Bosnian, so my home country is Bosnia, and we were in war with Serbia. Serbia attacked us. So I was still kind of holding a grudge on that country because I was 14-year-old when the war happened, and I stayed all this time during the war in my hometown for 4 years under the thousands and thousands of shells per day. And it was very traumatic. Actually, even 30 years after, I still feel like I do have a PTSD from the war. And I know probably that's the truth, because There were some situations where because something like when I see it in the media that, some political parties are trying to do the same thing over there to provoke the war or something like that, I can feel that it really hits me pretty bad. It's probably PTSD. So I was in Egypt with my kiddo. We found an apartment and I was now looking for a job. So what happened? As I said, there was no internet on the phones, no GPS, nothing. There were so-called internet cafes. Some of you who are older, you can remember that. So I went few days in that internet cafe, and also there was some, what was it called? It was El Wasit or something like that, some kind of ad newspapers with the jobs, and I was trying to find something, It sounds a little bit ridiculous because I still didn't have residence in Egypt. I just had that tourist visa. But anyway, so I just kept pushing and I was searching. I knew that there's no other way around. I cannot go back. Although I thought I can always go back, and I don't know what will happen because, oh, I forgot to mention this. All this time, when he kidnapped me, basically, he was threatening me with my family. And he was doing all kind of things to my family. My parents, my brother and his kids were so scared. He even burned a car. He sent people to attack my brother physically at his workplace. He sent people to attack physically my father while he was in the mosque, going out of the mosque. My mother witnessed a group of people in a van or in a jeep passing by our house, and they were armed. And I remember she told me she kept, her faith in God, and she was praying while they were passing by. Nothing happened. Also, they found a dead cat on one of the trees in front of our house. All kind of things were happening, like crazy things. And not to forget to mention, while I was still not cut from all the communication when I was in Egypt and in Belgrade. So the messages kept coming like, this is unbelievable. You cannot comprehend this. It's literally dozens and dozens of messages, 100 messages, like one after another, text messages. And it was like, he is sorry, and everything will be great between us, and I should just come back, and and then some other messages like threatening message, and then he was trying to do whatever possible. I wasn't replying on those messages, but it was really affecting me mentally. And then he started sending me emails, and all those emails was like hundreds of emails threatening me that he will kill and slaughter my whole family. And so that's something that was happening from one side, and on the other side I was struggling for survival, both mine and my sons, in Egypt, away from everybody. I didn't know anybody there, no family, nothing. And plus, while being worried for my son, I was at least the same or even more worried about my family back there, who were going through all of these things with that mafia guy. So you might wonder, oh, so where is the police? Yeah, nobody believes that, but if something like this happens, it's just like in movies. There's no police, really. I mean, nobody can help you, just God. So I was searching for the job, and I saw in that Elva seat, that ad newspaper, I saw one gentleman. He looked really professional in a suit, and he was around 45, 50 years old, and his ad was about he was actually promoting himself as a real estate agent. So he was promoting himself as a real estate agent for some maybe luxury properties, or I didn't really figure out, but maybe he was even, I think he was an owner of that agency or not, but he was like a prominent personality there. So there was a phone number. I've decided to reach out to him. I don't know where did this come from, but I just decided, let's reach out to him. He looks like an influential person that might be able to help me find a job. So I did that, and I scheduled an interview with him. So of course, because it's pretty suspicious, like, what am I really doing there, Like, no other Bosnians are in Egypt. Only some students who got some scholarship at that Azhar University, and that's it. Like, nobody really else who is like working individual, because their salaries are not really high. So, and also the environment is like so much different than European environment. Who would go there? So how come I came there? Why did I come here? This was all suspicious, but of course I couldn't just tell them, oh, I'm looking for a job. I just came here as a fugitive from a Warlock or from Mafia guy. And by the way, I have a 4-year-old kid with me. I mean, this so sounds unbelievable. Anyway, so I went to that job interview. And so he was asking about my previous experience. And I told him that I do have a previous experience in the field of real estate, because my brother owns a small real estate company back in Bosnia. Sorry, but I really needed to lie about something. I couldn't tell him the truth. Like, the truth is unbelievable. So, yeah. And then he was wondering, like, why did I decide to come to Egypt? And I have a tourist visa, so I don't have a residence. So I was basically hoping that I will get the job and then get a work visa based on the job offer. He told me he cannot help me, but he knows somebody who can. And because I don't have a visa, he said that that man is actually looking for somebody to get married with. And that would kind of resolve my issue with visa. Oh my God, I cannot explain you my mental status at that time. Like, not at that specific moment, but in general. I was traumatized by that mafia guy. And I couldn't imagine being with any man at all. Maybe forever, or I couldn't just imagine myself with anybody or any type of relationship. So that was like excluded. But anyway, so we went there. So we went there. I think I was bringing, of course, yes, I was bringing my son with me. So my son went with me to the interview. And I went to that other person, like, because he said he might help me with the job. Okay, let's see. So that other person was a businessman. He was an IT engineer. and he completed his education in USA. So, but he's just a regular guy. I mean, regular. He's not a mafia guy, definitely. He has his own printing company. So, that part is kind of clear. I mean, we just met and he started talking about like potentially us being married. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable, huh? In the first meeting. Like he said, I'm looking for a wife, and so he wanted to know what I'm thinking about this, and like it was all shocking to me, like from one shock to another. This was all those things that were happening, pretty unbelievable. So I guess I left that meeting feeling, shocked, but at the same time, I didn't have any residence, and if I don't have residence, I cannot stay there. And if I get married, I will have a residence based on marriage, and I can find job. He can help me find job, and I can work. And it's not just me that I should be thinking about. I have a 4-year-old son, and also I'm not helping my family. I'm not helping my family in any way if I go back. I thought if I go back to Bosnia, everything will be even worse. Like, then I couldn't just stay with my family. If I stay with my family, I would endanger them even more. And so that would mean that I would need to go back to that mafia guy, which wasn't an option. So I guess, some things I really forgot. I just wanted to exclude that from my memory. But of course, I needed to think about this as a potential option. So generally, nothing was really wrong with this person concerning his mental status, concerning his view on lives, concerning he was just a regular, business-oriented, well-educated, prominent person in the society. But there was something. So what was wrong is that he was already married and he was looking for a second wife. Wow, another shock. It's like, wow, what? Second wife? I mean, that doesn't exist in our culture. What is that? I mean, for me, it's totally unacceptable. How I could even consider it in any way. But, because of the situation and everything, eventually I agreed about this proposal. I'll tell you more in the next video.